music as a sport. I always tell myself I'm an athlete, you know? Athletes will spend all day in the gym. My gym is the studio, like my music room. I'll spend all day in the studio. So yeah, definitely passion, which is really important, but also discipline. Yeah,
thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, mmemsikia mwenyewe, passion, discipline, nidhamu ya kazi ni kitu muhimu sana kuhakikisha kwamba anaweza kusogea mbele na kujitofautisha na watu wengine wote, kwa sababu too many people wamesema statistically 70% ya watu ni vijana, lakini na vijana wengi ndio wao driving force with the music. So she has to have more than just believe in just the talent, but put in the work and other attributes ambazo zinampeleka to the top. So she's been doing very great. I'm actually a fan. You didn't know that. We just met today first time. So she's doing great things. Lakini we have another anomaly right here with us. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕 is a hip hop artist. He's an anomaly because he had an underground sound and he had the skills of the elite rappers with the lyricism and everything else, but still he had commercial appeal. Attributes zake alizonazo, all his attributes, typically you wouldn't expect him to have that much of an appeal in a commercial, right? You would expect somebody to be like, okay, this is a dope MC and that's it. But he was an anomaly because he had everything that all the great MCs who don't seem to make it, he actually ended up making it. So, and even to date, people who followed him, the likes of me and many others, wadogo zake, have never attained the level of success and maybe, let's say, recognition or that commercial appeal, even though they are probably as skilled of rappers or as MCs as him. So we don't know how to attribute that. How did he become to be that? Farid Kubanda, coming from Rock City, MWANZA, came and reigned terror in Dar es Salaam and the whole country, singing MWANZA MWANZA. Oh, and then calling him Ngosha, Ngosha, Ngosha. So he's done a lot. He's still doing a lot. A legend in the making. Top 5 all time. Probably he's going to be the GOAT at the end of the day because he's still doing music. His influence is beyond just the music and rapping, but it's been on the education side. As you know, MCs in hip-hop, we give edutainment. And he had Ujamaa Darasa, which he was educating, hip-hop Darasa, he was educating youth, empowering them. And apart from just empowering, it was kind of like giving them the tools that they need to be able to succeed going forward. We had the open mics. He was giving those platforms for upcoming artists as well, using his influence as well. So he's somewhat of an anomaly. He's a legend, cemented throughout, but then we don't know. How is 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒊 come to become 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒊? Farid Kubanda, Quincy, to become 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒊. Let's hear a little bit about that. And then we can commence.
Asante Wakazi, thank you so much for holding everything down like gravity. Actually, that's too deep for the intro. Too deep for the intro. So I might as well go back home and rewrite my bio, because I felt like there was some like brownie points missing. Contenda kuiedit. Good morning, everyone. Naitwa Farid Kubanda au 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒊. I prefer to put it in Swahili because I just want my people to get it. Namona kuna Mswahili nyuma kule kutoka Bagamoyo. Sitaki ondoke amenuna. Well, kuhusu 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒊, he's actually one of those, nisema Kiswahili. Ni mmoja kati ya wale watu ambao nilikuja kwenye game, lakini kila mtu akawa ananiambia kwamba aina muziki ambao unaofanya ni mgumu kwa radio. Too hardcore for radios. Umenielewa? So nikapata bahati, watu waliokuwa wananielewa ni producers tu na beatmakers, kwamba mimi naelewa unachofanya, so nitafanya kazi na wewe anyways. Sijui umenielewa vizuri. Kwa hiyo nikafanya nao kazi kwa style hiyo. Nakumbuka my first hit ilikuwa ni Huyu na Yule ambao nilimfeature Mr. Paul. Watu wakawa wanataka album. Master J wasn't ready for that. He was like, ukiwa na ngoma kali njoo tu record, lakini siwezi kuriski kwa sababu artist. Umenielewa? Kwa hiyo Master J aligoma kunitengenezea album, but he was willing to, to record like, singles na vitu kama hivyo. Ikabidi sasa ndo nihamie Baucha. Snally was like, Fidi, namkumbuka kakaangu alitwa Baucha kwa nakaa Uingereza, kaja na vyombo njoo tuvifunge urekodi album yako, kwa sababu kwa najua ndoto yangu ikoje. Nimeenda Baucha Records pale, niko na Castle, tukafunga vifaa, tukarekodi feedq.com. Feedq.com came out like 2003 I think. Na ni ngoma ambayo ilihit ile siku ambayo ilitoka, ilihit siku hiyo. Unajuaje? Unajua kwa sababu kesho yake kulikuwa kuna wasanii kama 20 wamekuja katika studio, wanaulizia hii ndio studio ambayo imerekodi ngoma ya Feedq iliyochezwa jana redioni, wanataka kufanya bookings nini, waje record na vitu kama hivyo. So basically hapa katikati, kabla sijafika huko, nimekutana sana na maandishi unaofanya ni magumu sana watu waweze kuelewa, aina muziki unaofanya ni mgumu sana watu waweze kuelewa. Lakini kwa sababu niliuamini mimi, niliendelea kufanya hivyo, na nafikiri naweza nikasema kwamba siku hizi kwa msanii wa hip hop, kwa kama unafanya hip hop, unatakiwa kwa kiasi fulani wewe una uandishi kama wa Feedq. Sijajua kama nitakuwa nimejipakulia sana minyama au nini, lakini that's what it is. Ningependa tuishie hapo kwa sasa wakazi, kwa sababu kuna mengi ya kuongea. Lakini
so basically believing in yourself and sticking to your guns is perseverance basically. I would say that. That's what made Feedq become what it was, because initially, like I'm saying, it is an anomaly because the sound typically it wouldn't be accepted in the general masses in the commercial arena, but he became commercial with the same sound that he started with that only few people could understand. So we hail him supreme, and he opened doors for a lot of people, especially hip-hop artists and MCs, because we found somebody who we could say, yo, he's on top of the game. He can get the same opportunities that every other person is getting. So even us, we have the same opportunity, given that we can do the same, given if we were given the same opportunities as he was given. So we hail him for that as a trailblazer as well. Well, we were supposed to be joined with 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕. 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕 has an interesting story too. He's doing Singeli. In my opinion, I think Singeli and hip-hop kind of like brother and sister, or if not twin brothers, because we share a lot of similarities. It's inner city type of music. Basically, it's talking about the struggles of the kids in the streets and in poverty and being in the ghetto and all that, and the realities of it. Because most of the time, people who do just entertainment music could come with superficial things and things vya kusadikika and have a hit song. But some of us, when we do hip-hop, it's music about reality. It's real music about reality of life. And Singeli music actually represents that. But if you want to get technical as well, how hip-hop started, hip-hop was taking songs from rock, from jazz, from soul, and they were looping the beats, the breaks, cutting them out, sampling, speed up the tempo, and then MCs will get on the mic with the same similarities. Singeli actually takes popular hit songs, change the beats, and then MC get on the mic and do his thing, talking about reality of the streets. Same way the message was in hip-hop, and when Feedq started talking about things that are happening in his album Propaganda, or when Nash MC talk about stuff in the streets, you know, or PDMC and things of that nature. So we see a lot of similarities with Singeli. And Singeli was there before 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕. But when 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒕 came to the scene, Singeli has never been the same. Remember, it's a street music, underground roots kind of music. Before 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕, we already had major artists. Shout out to Msagasum. We already had a major hit record that was crossover hit. Akunaga ushemeji tunakula. We had that by my homeboy. So we had those. But when 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕 came, he took it. He remained authentic, did his thing, remained authentic, but he rose to the ranks and accolades to a point in this same room. He was winning multiple awards in the last Tanzania Music Award last year. So imagine a street type of music to rise to those ranks, have that type of commercial appeal, but it's still authentic. Is that the new sound of Tanzania? Is that the sound of kind of music we want to push as our identity? Because to my opinion, bongo flavor, so-called Tanzanian music, now is more of the culture. The culture is bongo flavor. But then within bongo flavor culture, you have hip-hop MCs doing their thing, rappers, singers. We even have bongo movie, our sisters and brothers, they're doing their thing. So bongo flavor is more of the culture. But then which music is the one that's spearheading the identity of Tanzania beyond the borders of Tanzania? Should we all rush back and embrace Singeli with the way that we've seen it can rise to ranks and still remain authentic? We want authenticity. I know most of the time I'm privileged because I also talk about myself a little bit. I'm privileged to travel the world a little bit. Every time the likes of Tatunane, Jaguar, 𝒓𝒊𝒈𝒉𝒕 go to perform in abroad, you will find the crowd is full of not the people looking like him, but foreigners. Or even we have shows in Zanzibar, it's foreigners who actually appreciate more. So should those type of music or those type of genres be the one to represent us? So had Sholomwamba been here, I would have asked him, like, what made you authentic? I remember that day after winning multiple awards, kulikuwa kuna gari mbili nje Costa za wauni kama wote zinamsindikiza mtu wao ameshinda. So they were disturbing the peace, literally. But then he was raising to the ranks of the music loyalty in Tanzania. So we want to dive into that and understanding these different intricacies of music and how it's shaping the culture in Tanzania and how the youth are engaged into that. As for myself, I'm Wakazi, I'm an artist, I'm an activist, some will even call me a politician, it's fine. I have also an interesting story, because I began doing my music while I was abroad, so I have the diaspora experience, came back to Tanzania. I did not attain the typical rise to stardom, like you have to have a radio hit and then you be played, you get those shows. I was getting shows that even the biggest artists in Tanzania were not getting. And just because while I was abroad, I had learned of this tool called social media. So I was pushing myself on social media so much on the www to a point I was getting international recognition more than I was even getting the local, because locally, people access to internet was not all that. So I would have collaborations in Ghana, in Nigeria, I would have collaboration in the US, in South Africa, before I could get a collaboration with 𝒕, or before I could get a collaboration from Ali Kiba or Omi Dimples. And then those kind of collaborations abroad gave me recognition to a point I would go to perform in Big Brother South Africa. That was a big thing back then. So I would go and perform there. And then it's like, oh my God, who's this guy? Most people locally don't know me, and then I'm getting those looks. So some people would think, man, you know what I'm saying, like, he didn't deserve it and all that. And then all of a sudden, my music being exposed on the www, I'm getting nominated for Kora. Now extinct, but it used to be then. Oh, Kazi is one of the top rappers in Africa, alongside Sarkodie, a.k.a. Casper. So I was like, okay. In Tanzania, if you ask then, I was not even top 5 of a rapper, but I was getting looks as I'm top 5 in Africa. So that was also something that I was kind of like getting an opportunity, and it was different. So I'm an anomaly as well, because I came to get all the opportunities that a made artist would get, but if you ask a local avid music fan, they will probably say, Wakazi, maybe he's just an average, he's good, but there's a lot more people better. But then right now, it's not only about music. How do you brand yourself? Placement. How do you market? All these kind of things define what the type of artist you will become. Remember I told you Abigail, from the get-go, she looked like she is the thing. She's the it girl from day one. There were artists before her. Perhaps some of them, maybe we could say they have more talent. But Sony saw her because they know we can work with this. So if you don't place yourself in the right position, probably those opportunities may never come. So my story was different as well, but then it's still a Tanzanian story. Not every Tanzanian relate to it. Not every Tanzanian relate to Abigail. Not every Tanzanian relate to 𝒕, but at the end of the day, when you put 𝒕, Sholomwamba, Abigail, Wakazi, and the rest of them, we are all Tanzania. So what is happening with our music? Now maybe Abigail, I can ask you. Do you see how important is it for you as an African artist, a Tanzanian artist, even though you signed with a major, you're looking to go beyond Tanzania? How important is it to you to incorporate Swahili in your music, in your lyrics, or even Swahili sounds in your music? Because it's important to have an identity as much as you have the talent that you can be put next to anybody in the world, but how important is that to you, to have that sense of pride, I'm African in that?
Thank you. I think it's really important for every artist to always remain authentic to themselves. You know, sometimes when we're trying to find different audiences, we'll try to change ourselves and our sound for, you know, to appeal to other audiences. But I think it's really important to stay true to yourself. And for me as a Tanzanian, like, when I write in Swahili, and, you know, so it's just who I am. So it is very important to me to never lose sight of that. It doesn't matter if I have an American audience or a European audience, just to stay true to me and the Tanzanian that Abigail is. I think that's very, very important, yeah. And also, as an artist, to just always represent, you know, and what better way to represent my home country than to use our mother tongue.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. So, I mean, I already know what 𝒕𝒊𝒈 would say, because even he chose to speak in Swahili over here, so you know how proud he is with his Swahili. But in the same token, though, 𝒕𝒊𝒈, every time they mention the top rappers in Africa, they skip East Africa, not just Tanzania. Kenya, Uganda, we are not mentioned. How much does that bother you, knowing that as far as skills, you're up there with the rest of them, not even the Africa, I mean in the world. No? And then even there are some MCs in Africa, ambao they actually know how good and how lethal you are as an MC, even though whenever those lists are put forward, no one is going to say, nah, what did you forget to put 𝒕𝒊𝒈 or put Professor J and the likes of them? How does that bother you, especially with our Swahili thing in East Africa?
It's not bothering me at all, because I remember them days when 𝒂𝒂𝒔𝒂𝒇𝒊 𝒂𝒂𝒂 used to run this game, you know. Kwa kuna watu kama kina nani wanatoka kutoka DC, wanakuja kikosini kujiunga na wengineo. So TZ used to be the maker of hip hop. You understand what I mean? So it's not bothering me at all. It has been like that from day one, so you know what it is. I just wanted to add up on something. She was talking about being authentic. Yeah. When you listen to Afrobeat, unajua hii is from Nigeria or Ghana, right? Ukisikiza kwaito and amapiano, South Africa. Ukisikiza bongo flavor, unajua natokea wapi?
Currently, no.
Kwa sababu tuna bongo flavor ambazo zina sound kama amapiano, tuna bongo flavor ambazo zina sound kama Afrobeat na nyinginezo. Na I think wewe ndo mtu sahihi wa kunijibu hili swala, kwa sababu you are the future of this industry. You understand what I mean? Unatuambiaje hapo?
I think ningesema kwamba bongo flavor unajua tangu ilitambulishwa ilikuwa ni fusion sound. Like bongo flavor has always been a fusion of US hip hop, reggae, taarab, which is one of like the core Tanzanian sounds. So ukisikiliza bongo flavor, yani it has its own sound for sure. And the same way that right now Nigerian music and Afropop is you know, kind of making some songs that are also similar to amapiano, it's normal sometimes, you know, with new different sounds that come up, you know, like right now, a lot of Tanzanian artists are making songs that are amapiano, but still, even the amapiano songs that we make, the way that they sing, when avimba zile melodies, they still sound very taarab-ish, you know, and zile melodies are Kiarab with those like Arabic melodies and scales. So I do think that ukisikiliza bongo flavor, when you do hear bongo flavor, you are certain that this is bongo flavor for sure. Okay. Yeah.
So do you think bongo flavor should